Jack stood in the great hall of the Galactic Academy, his eyes moving from one strange face to another. Tall beings with silver skin, short creatures with glowing eyes, and others with scales or fur filled the space around him. None of them looked like him. None of them wanted him there. He was the only human in this class. The first from Earth to be accepted into the Academy. Some thought it was a mistake. Others made their opinions clear with laughter and whispers. Jack heard it all. He saw the sideways glances, the mocking smiles. He kept his head down. Not out of shame, but focus. He knew why he was here. Earth was new to the galactic scene. Humans were not trusted, were seen as weak and wild. Jack had to prove something more than strength. He had to show control, skill, and will. Training began early and ended late. Each day was a mix of mental tests and physical trials. Jack studied hard. He watched how others moved, copied their forms, learned their timing, adjusted to their tactics. While others rested, Jack trained. When others talked, he listened. During combat drills, Jack was often paired with stronger, faster aliens. Many knocked him down. Some used the chance to hit harder than needed. Bruises covered his arms, legs, and ribs. But Jack never complained. He got back up every time. Some instructors saw his effort and gave quiet nods. Others ignored him, focusing on cadets from high-status worlds. It did not matter to Jack. He was not here to be liked. He was here to win respect. One figure in the shadows watched him more than others. A large alien with deep blue skin and yellow eyes. His name was Tyreek, supreme hunter from a warrior race known for brutal trials and unmatched kills. His people had won battles across the stars. His presence at the Academy was rare and feared. Unlike others, Tyreek never spoke to Jack, but he watched him during drills. He followed his progress through the ranks. He saw how Jack studied every move, how he stayed calm even when surrounded. Jack noticed the stares. He did not know why Tyreek cared, but he felt the weight of those eyes. The Academy held a gathering each moon cycle. Cadets met in the center hall to share updates and honors. This time, the talk turned to Jack. A tall alien named Vorin spoke loud. He said Jack was only there as a symbol. He laughed about Earth's weak history. Others joined in. Jack stood still, face calm. Vorin walked up to him, pushed his shoulder. Jack did not move. He looked him in the eyes, said nothing, and walked away. Behind them, Tyrek's eyes narrowed. His race did not mock in words. They watched actions. Jack had shown something few others did. Restraint. Days turned to weeks. Jack grew stronger. His reflexes improved. His focus deepened. Learned how to use what he had. It's not brute strength, but speed, awareness, and sharp thinking. On the training field, he began to win duels. It's not by overpowering, but by outsmarting. He let others rush. He waited. He turned their moves against them. The laughter became less common. Some cadets began to watch him with less hate. A few nodded when he passed, but still, most held back. The idea of a human standing equal with them was hard to accept. In private rooms, instructors discussed him. Some were impressed, others still doubted. Tyreek remained silent, but his gaze never left Jack. Then came the notice. A test was coming, a mission to a hostile moon. Teams would be sent to survive with no support. Each cadet would be judged alone. It was the Academy's final test before full selection. Jack looked at the message, said one word. Ready? The dropship landed with a sharp hiss on the rocky surface of the moon. The sky above was dark with clouds, and strong winds moved dust across the ground. This moon was known for sudden storms and dangerous creatures. Cadets called it the Beast's Mouth. It was the final test. Jack stepped off the ship with his gear. He looked around at the others. They wore the same uniforms, carried the same tools, but their eyes told a different story. Some looked nervous, so others looked ready to prove themselves. A few glanced at Jack and laughed quietly. Each cadet was given a tracker, a knife, a scanner, and a survival pack. The mission was simple. Survive for 7 days. No help, no teams. Only the strongest and smartest would pass. Once the signal sounded, cadets ran in different directions. Jack moved the other way, not rushing. He scanned the ground, saw the signs of fresh tracks, and avoided them. He knew the others would chase easy ground. He chose harder paths. The moon was cold at night and hot during the day. Jack found a cave to hide in during the first storm. He built a fire using dry roots and small stones. He boiled water from a stream. He ate small creatures he caught with traps made from string and sticks. On day 2, he heard a loud cry in the distance. Someone was in trouble. Jack moved toward the sound, found 2 cadets trapped under a fallen tree. A large beast circled them, teeth sharp and eyes red. Jack threw a stone to distract it, then used his scanner to send a loud pulse. The beast turned and ran. He helped the cadets out. One had a hurt leg, the other could walk. They did not thank him. They only looked at him with surprise. Then they left without a word. Jack did not care. He checked his gear and moved on. Across the moon, other cadets faced danger. Some were caught in mud pits, others ran from wild creatures. Many tried to stay in groups, but trust was low. No one wanted to share food or give help. Vorin, the tall alien who had mocked Jack, led a small group. They thought strength was all they needed. They attacked weaker cadets and took supplies. They hunted in packs, but their pride made them loud. Beasts began to follow their trail. Jack stayed low and quiet, moved at night, rested during the day. He marked his map with each safe zone he found. He avoided other cadets when he could. On day 5, a storm hit harder than before. Winds broke trees. Rain flooded the caves. Jack used a rope to tie himself to a rock wall and waited it out. Many cadets were caught in the open. When the storm passed, Jack found another cadet, a young female from a desert world, lying in the mud. She was cold and hurt. Jack gave her some water and helped her find shelter. She said nothing but gave him a slow nod before falling asleep. On day 6, the final danger came. A large beast, bigger than any seen before, came out of the forest. It walked on 4 legs, had horns like blades and eyes that glowed. It attacked without warning. Jack was near a cliff. Ran led the beast toward a trap he had made earlier. He jumped over the hole and the beast fell in, stuck and roaring. The ground shook. Part of the cliff broke. Jack held onto the edge, his arms burned. His pack fell down into the dark. He climbed up slowly, breathing hard. High above, Tyreek watched from a hidden ship, saw the trap. He saw how Jack used his brain, not just his body. He watched the fight, the rescue, the calm way Jack handled each threat. Tyreek spoke to no one, but in his heart, he felt something shift. The human had done what few others could. Not just survive, but lead without force, fight with reason, and help without pride. On the morning of day 7, Jack walked toward the pickup point. Dirt covered his face. His clothes were torn, but his eyes were clear. Others arrived behind him, slower, hurt, tired. Many had stories. Few had passed all parts of the test. Jack said nothing. He sat on a rock and waited. The mission was over. But something greater had just begun. The training field was quiet after the mission. Cadets stood in rows. Some were proud, others looked down. The leaders of the academy walked past them, checking names and scores. Each cadet held a small tablet that showed their results. Jack looked at his. It showed high marks in survival, tactics, and problem solving. No comments, no praise, just numbers. He knew what they meant. He had passed. But he had also seen the way others looked at him. Even now, some could not believe he was still standing. Then the speaker called for attention. A commander stepped forward. His voice was clear and strong. He spoke about courage and honor. He praised a few cadets by name. Their groups clapped. But when he said Jack's name, there was silence. A few heads turned. Some whispered. Jack stood still, his hands behind his back. He showed no pride. He did not smile. He waited. After the speech, cadets were allowed to rest. Some went to the food hall. Others to the training rooms. Jack went to the quiet garden behind the academy wall. It was a place most cadets ignored. But Jack liked it. It was calm. He sat under a tall tree and closed his eyes. The wind was soft. The leaves moved gently. He thought about Earth, about home. It felt far away, not in distance, but in time. He had changed. He was not the same boy who left that blue world. Then he heard footsteps, slow, heavy, not hiding. He opened his eyes and saw Tyreek. The tall figure stood across from him, his arms crossed, his eyes locked on Jack. Jack stood up. He gave a small nod. Tyreek walked closer. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Tyreek said, "You hunt well." Jack said, "I learn fast." Tyreek looked around the garden. "This place is for thought, not for warriors," Jack said. "Sometimes a warrior needs to think." Tyreek gave a deep sound from his chest. Act. Not laughter, but close. He stepped closer. "I saw your trap on the moon," he said. "I saw how you helped others. I saw how you fought." Jack said nothing. Tyreek said, "Many mocked you. They saw weakness, saw shape. Steel is shaped by fire. You did not burn. You became strong." Jack looked up at him. He said, "I came here to learn, not to fight. But if I must fight, I will win." Tyreek nodded slowly. He pulled something from his belt. A small stone marked with the symbol of his clan. He held it out. "This is given to those who walk with us. Not behind, not ahead." Beside, Jack took it in his hand. It was smooth and cold. He said, "You offer this to me," Tyreek said, "not as a teacher, not as a judge, as a hunter to another, as brother." Jack closed his hand around the stone. "I accept." From that day, the story spread across the academy. The Supreme Hunter had called a human his brother. Some refused to believe it. Others began to watch Jack with new eyes. Over the next weeks, Jack trained with Tyreek. They learned each other's ways. Tyreek showed him how to track by smell, how to listen to the wind, how to move with silence. Jack showed him how to adapt fast, how to think around a wall, not through it. In the combat ring, they stood together. In the forest trials, they moved as one. Jack began to speak with others. Aliens who once laughed now came to him for advice. Foreign watched from a distance. His pride hurt. He had failed the final test. And now the human he mocked had gained honor. One evening, Jack walked into the hall. Lights were low. Screens showed stars moving past the academy walls. Cadets sat in quiet groups. Jack stepped onto the center floor. He looked around, then raised his voice. "If anyone still thinks Earth is weak, meet me here tomorrow. No weapons, no teams, just skill." No one answered. The silence said enough. Jack turned and walked out. Tyreek waited at the door. He said, "You did not need to say that." Jack said, "I did. For Earth, for others who will come after." Tyreek placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then let us prepare. We have more paths to walk." Jack nodded. He felt ready. The hunter had spoken. The fire had shaped him. Now, the galaxy would see the truth. A new mission was posted across the academy. It was not a test. It was real. A lost colony had sent out a weak signal from the edge of known space. The message was short and broken. No one knew what danger waited there. Many cadets stepped back. Few were willing to take the risk. Jack stood at the front of the line. Tyreek stood beside him. Command said, "This mission is not for pride. It is not for show. It's for those ready to face the unknown." Jack said, "We are ready." 7 others joined them, each from a different world. Each had seen Jack fight, lead, and survive. They no longer cared where he came from. They trusted what they saw. The team entered a dark ship, made for speed and strength. No one spoke during the launch. Only the sound of engines filled the air. Stars passed fast as the ship moved beyond normal routes. Jack looked out the window. He felt calm. The ship landed on a dead world. Sand covered broken towers. Wind howled through empty streets. The signal came from deep inside the city ruins. Jack led the team forward. He held his scanner tight. Tyreek moved to his side, watching the rooftops and corners. The others spread out, ready for anything. They found signs of a fight. Blood marks, burn scars, deep tracks in the stone. The colony was silent. No people, no answers. They moved deeper. Inside an old building, they found a working terminal. Jack cleaned the dust and played the last message. An old man with shaking hands spoke, said they came from below. "They smell fear. We locked the lower gates, but they are digging up. If anyone hears this, we need help." The team looked at each other. Tyreek said, "We go down." They found the entrance to the lower city. It was blocked by metal and stone. Jack used tools to open a path. Heat rose from the gap. A strange smell followed. Below it was dark and wet. The walls were old and broken. Strange shapes moved in the shadows. Then they saw it. A creature with black skin, sharp legs, and no eyes. It moved fast. One cadet fired. The sound echoed. More shapes came from the dark. Jack shouted, "Fall back! Form a circle." The team moved fast. They fought side by side. Tyreek crushed two creatures with his blade. Jack cut one down with a clean move. The others held the line. Jack saw a young cadet fall. A creature jumped toward him. Jack ran, pulled the cadet back, and used his scanner to blast the beast. They pushed forward step by step. The air grew thick. The walls shook. They found a sealed room. Inside were 10 people from the colony, weak and scared. Jack said, "We are here to take you home." The rescue began. Jack and Tyreek led the way out. Creatures followed. The path was long and hard. At the surface, the ship waited. Jack stayed at the back, watching for any more danger. A large creature broke through the ground. It aimed for the colony leader. Jack jumped in front. He used his last charge to stop it. The blast shook the ground. Dust filled the air. The creature fell. Jack dropped to his knees, breathing hard. Tyreek ran to him and pulled him up. "You stood alone again," Tyreek said. Jack said, "Not alone. You were all with me." They flew back in silence. The colony survivors slept. The cadets cleaned their gear. Tyreek sat beside Jack. "You led with courage," he said. "I learned from the best," Jack said. When they landed, the academy waited. News had already spread. Jack and his team had saved lives and fought creatures unknown to the council. The leader of the academy stood before all cadets and said, "This human was once mocked. Now he has shown what it means to be one of us." Tyreek stepped forward and said, "He is not one of us. He is one with us." Cadets from many worlds clapped. Some stood. Others looked at Jack with wide eyes. Vorin was among them. He said nothing, but his face showed he understood now. Jack looked at the stars above. This was not the end. More paths waited. But now, he walked them with honor, with allies, and with the name Brother. Jack stood on the high platform above the academy grounds. Stars above were bright. The air was quiet. Below him, a large crowd gathered. Not just cadets, but leaders, teachers, and warriors from many worlds. He was not used to standing in front of so many eyes, but this was different. He had earned his place. He had walked through fire, faced beasts, and saved lives. Now, they were not laughing at him. They were listening. The head of the academy stepped forward. He handed Jack a silver badge, shaped like a circle with many lines crossing it. It was the mark of a galactic explorer. Only the best were given this. Jack took it and nodded. He said nothing. The crowd clapped. Some cheered. Others just stood in silence, showing respect. Tyreek watched from the side, his arms crossed, his face calm. He had seen Jack grow from a quiet outsider into something more. Not just strong, but wise. Not just brave, but steady. Later, Jack sat by the garden where he had met Tyreek long ago. The wind moved through the trees. It felt like peace. Tyreek joined him. He held a small tablet. He said, "They offer you a high seat in the council. They want you to train others." Jack looked at the sky, said, "I did not come here to sit in rooms." Tyreek said, "Then what do you want now?" No, Jack said, "I want to keep moving, explore new places. See what else is out there." Tyreek gave a short nod. "Then I will go with you." Jack smiled. Not a wide smile, just a small one, he said. "Good." Within days, a ship was prepared. It was a new model. Fast, strong, made for long travel. It had rooms for two, gear for deep space, and the tools needed to explore the unknown. Many came to see them off. Some gave salutes, others gave simple nods. Orin stood at the back of the crowd. He did not speak, but he raised his hand in respect. Jack and Tyreek entered the ship. The doors closed. Engines started. The ship rose into the sky. As the stars filled the windows, Jack turned to Tyreek. "Where first?" Tyreek said. "We follow the edge, go past the old maps. Let the stars guide us." Jack said, "Then let's begin." The ship moved fast, leaving the Academy behind. Ahead was the open galaxy, worlds never seen, dangers never faced, maybe allies not yet known. Back on Earth, news of Jack's journey spread. People who once thought the stars were too far now looked up with new eyes. Children studied his story. Leaders spoke of joining the Galactic Council. The world had changed. Jack's name became more than a name. It became a sign of what was possible. A story of someone who was mocked, doubted, pushed down, but never broken. On board the ship, Jack kept a record. Not for fame, but to leave a path for others. Each world they passed, each life they touched, was part of a greater story. Tyreek taught him more each day, not just how to fight, but how to see the signs in the stars, how to know when to speak and when to stay quiet. Jack taught Tyreek too. He showed him how humans think fast, how they ask questions, how they feel deep. Together, they faced storms in space, strange signals, and new forms of life. Some ran, some fought, some welcomed them. But no matter the challenge, Jack stood strong. Not as a soldier, not as a hero, as a human who had earned his place. One night, while looking out at a red star, Tyreek said, "Many will follow your path." Jack said, "They won't follow. They will make their own." "I just opened the gate," Tyreek said, "and now they will know your name." "Hey," Jack said, "I do not need them to know my name. Only that a human stood and walked forward." The ship moved into deep space, two shadows in the stars. One from a world once feared, one from a world once mocked. Together, they carried the light of something new. The story of a bond, of respect, of walking side by side. And far across the stars, many listened, many watched, and many began to believe.